appears that another Trump venture has failed. The platform known as Truth Social, also known as Twitter for people who got kicked off Twitter, has imploded. It has fallen off a cliff. According to The Wrap, the much-touted social media app has only managed to gain about 1.2 million downloads. So you might say, well, 1.2 million, that's pretty good, right? The vast majority of those were on launch day. About 800,000 downloads reached within the first couple of days. Since then, absolute nosedive. Nosedive. According to the estimate for this week in the download reports, the social media app may only be downloaded approximately 60,000 times. 60,000. Speaking to The Wrap, Stephanie Chan, a mobile insight strategist for Sensor Tower, offered insight explaining how badly the social media platform's downloads have plummeted. This is down 93% from launch week, when it saw 872,000 installs during the week of February 21st. We estimate that Truth Social has so far reached approximately 1.2 million installs since its launch. Now, installs is one thing, right? So you could download the app, and I think we've all done this. You can download an app and then just never use it. And in the case of Truth Social, why would you? Because it's a ghost town. There's nobody there. And so, of course, there's very little data to determine how many individuals are actually using the app after signing up. Per The Wrap, quote, on its desktop site, Truth Social has also seen a significant decline in traffic following the launch period. TruthSocial.com spiked to 6 million visits during the week of February 20th, but has dropped to around 1.9 million weekly visits in recent weeks, according to SimilarWeb. The App Store download page visits also declined from 361,000 visits during launch week to some 90,000 weekly visits last week. So, fun. Absolute nosedive. Gone. Truth Social, not doing so well. And that is the truth. All right. That's not fake news. Now, here's the thing. So I think I'm going to do something that's incredibly unfair. I'm going to compare it to Twitter. Now, Twitter's a little strange. They do this thing where they only track what they call monetizable active users. It means they're making money off you, right? Now, even then, they had 37 million active daily users in just the United States alone. Worldwide, about 217 million. That's active users. The last published figure regarding monthly active Twitter users actually amounted to about 330 million before the company decided to discontinue reporting on that metric. So now, again, I mentioned that it might not be fair to make the comparison with Twitter. Why? Well, Twitter's been around for a very long time, to be fair. They're a huge company. They've been a huge company. Truth Social is a startup. It's very new, and it's headed up by Devin Nunes, who couldn't win a lawsuit against a fictional cow, and yet attempted to sue said fictional cow and said fictional mom. Yes, suing somebody called Devin Nunes' mom on Twitter to try to reveal them. It didn't work. It failed. All right. Win. Now, but look, when it comes down to it, when you look, has Donald Trump even said anything about Truth Social since it launched? He hasn't posted anything there. His first post is the only post on Truth Social. So he doesn't spend time there. He doesn't advertise this. You don't see Truth Social being advertised essentially anywhere. And so nobody uses it. And if nobody uses it, they don't make any money, obviously, and nobody signs up. And so, again, Trump doesn't care about this, doesn't talk about it, doesn't use it, doesn't promote it, and there's just no reason to be there. In fact, earlier this month, a Republican digital strategist talked to Politico about this, saying, quote, other than Trump, what makes the platform compelling enough to come back over and over again? How is it any different than Twitter and Parler? Well, to be fair, Truth Social, I mean, look, Parler and Twitter, they're not a obvious cash grab. And again, when you're talking about Truth Social and actually what drives people to be there, well, you have to have a reason to be there, right? And there is no reason. I mean, and here's the thing. There's no compelling reason to be there. If you're a so-called free speech site, well, what happens? It gets filled with Nazis, and Nazis will do Nazi shit. And so now Nazi shit turns people off. Nobody's going to go there if your site's full of Nazis. And so obviously you have to have some rules, but if you put in some rules to keep out the Nazis, well, then you can't really bill yourself as a free speech site. You're saying, well, you know, I have a little bit of rules. I got to keep out the Nazis. And so we're going to have a no Nazi policy. Well, now we're not really free speech. And so, look, without, being explicitly free speech and opening it up to the Nazis, how are they different than anyone else? Because everyone else also has a no Nazi policy. And so that's it. And by the way, this is a Twitter clone. And so the other thing is, okay, if you're going to succeed and actually do something and bring people to your site, well, they have to have a reason, right? Like an additional functionality. Now, for example, remember MySpace? Anybody remember MySpace? They actually allowed you to put like music and fun stuff on your MySpace page. That brought in a lot of people. Facebook, I honestly don't know what Facebook did to bring in all these people, but now Facebook's dominant, and there it is. I mean, they provided some sort of functionality that MySpace didn't. Now, of course, interestingly enough, people want MySpace back. Hey, I don't blame them, right? But like, all right, the question is then, why would anyone want to use an empty Twitter clone if you could just use Twitter? Now, Donald Trump can't use Twitter, even though he can't use Twitter, he still doesn't use Truth Social. And so, look, that's why this is just a complete and utter disaster. The only thing that it was there for is a pump and dump scheme. All right? And so all these early investors into this company, they got in good. They bought the stock low. And now, look, they bought the stock low. It increased in value and then dropped back in value. But it's still going to be higher, I think, than when they bought in because they got a special discount. So what are they going to do as soon as they're able to do so? They're going to dump the stock and they're going to walk away with millions of dollars. So there it is. That's the essential scheme of a pump and dump. And, well, that's what Truth Social actually is.